Good morning, friends. It's a new day, it's a new project, and I've not got the guitar out yet because I'm going to show you something first. And I'm going to show you what's this. Okay, that's a guitar case, but oh, look at that. It can only mean one thing when it's in a case like that. It can only mean that it is an American Fender, and it is an American Fender, and it's a Telecaster, and it's a standard. And the good thing about this coming in today is I've been looking to buy an American Telecaster, and I've just gone and bought one, a 2008 American Standard, with exactly the same case as this, a Fender hard case. So this is basically the same guitar as I've bought, except I bought the earlier version of 2008. This is a little bit later. It's 2015 by the looks of it. And what a beauty. And the difference between this one and one I've bought is this one has a belly cut, mine doesn't. And this will have the broadcaster and the thingy wind pickups, which are a later edition from 2012 onwards. Mine will have the standard Telecaster Fender single coil pickups, which I'm not too bothered about, because I was thinking of sticking a little 59 in the bridge anyway, a little humbucker, splittable humbucker. So I will probably do that. Fine looking guitar. And this has come in. The guy contacted me on Facebook and he just wants to set up. And I know he used to go to Clive Eastwood, my friend out at Beaver Guitars, but Beaver Guitars has moved to Suffolk and it's too far away, so this guy's coming to me. And because he's based out in Grantham there, and he sent this guitar to me, and I've had a quick check over of the guitar. The action is very low. In fact, I'll measure it. 12th fret above the low E string. Oh my goodness, we are looking at, well, it's 1.5 millimeters, which is good, it's acceptable. There is hardly any relief in the guitar at all. This fret buzz, I would say this action is too low. There's hardly any relief in my neck. I will be putting a little bit more relief in that neck myself, and make that action, just bring it up to about 1.75 millimeters. So I would think, for a bit more relief in there, just a little bit, we're looking at 0.2 millimeters round about the 9th fret, which will put us a little bit more height on the 12th fret, from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. 1.7 millimeters is fine. It's a very nice, it's a low, it's not super low, but it's low enough. I've been across it with a fret rocker. Notice with the neck not quite straight, there are 4 frets rocking. Now the good thing about an intent, I would have normally given this a player setup, which is 50 quid, and it gets everything done, barring fret work and electrical work. Because it wants fret work, we're going to go with an intensive setup. Now I've already been across with a fret rocker, and I've seen that there are 4, or I found out that there are 4 frets slightly rocking. So I'm going to get the strings off, once I've checked the intonation and everything, and the radius on the saddles. I'm going to get the strings off, and we're going to straighten the neck, and we're going to go across with a radius gauge, or not a radius gauge, with a fret rocker. Blah, 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 we know how this works. And I'm going to check all of the frets, and if we can get it, if there's not too many need doing, we'll stick it, get it all done on an intensive setup. I shouldn't imagine this is going to need a complete fret level. But we'll see where we are. If we get around about 4 or 5 frets, we're going to be okay. Anything above 5, we're going to be in trouble, because we're going to need to do a fret level. I would have thought we'd have to go as far as a fret level. I did an ESP Eclipse yesterday, and that had 8 I frets. And normally I'd say, look, you're going to need a fret level, because once you get past 5, you've got to level the whole lot. But they were that slight, the rocking was that slight, I said, you know, I'll just hand file it. And I didn't do a fret level, I did an intensive setup, which is quite a lot of money less. So I'm going to check the setup on this. Lovely guitar. I've just bought one of these, I'm really pleased. Neck feels great. It's the kind of neck I like. I think it's a modern C shape, isn't it? Feels really good. So yeah, brilliant. Beautiful looking guitar. So I'm going to check the setup, check the intonation, check the radius of the saddles. The saddles look a bit flat to me. It's going in the studio with this in January, so it needs it setting absolutely bang on. The nut, yeah, the nut's cut pretty okay. We'll go a little bit lower with those nut slots, I think. So something that I'll look at later. Got a new set of strings. This will be having a set of 1149s, and we will be going in a drop C. Is it a drop C sharp tuning? Did he say? I'll have to check that. I know he has a drop tuning. It drop D flat, I think, which I call drop C sharp. It's exactly the same thing. So let's get it on the bench. We'll get the strings off, we'll check these frets, and we'll see exactly where we are. So here we are, and I've just checked the intonation. Well, I've checked the tuning first. We are tuned in to D flat, or drop D flat should I say, so that'll be a C sharp chord. Just check the intonation, I'm going to check it again. And we're bang on, I think. A little bit sharp, that one. We're just going to come back slightly. Somewhere here somewhere. Always going to be a long screwdriver for this. We're a little bit sharp, so we're going to just bring this, just going to lengthen this. There you go. A little bit flat, so we've gone too far. It's always just a little. Okay. So however I set this guitar up last time, the intonation's bang on. We do have fret buzz though. And that's because the neck is too straight. Right, the intonation's bang on, so I'm just going to check the radius. I think the radius is going to be a bit too flat as well. It's why we're getting fret buzz all the way around here. Because we're too flat, I believe. It'll be a 9.5. Better be a 9.5. That's what it needs to be. There you go. 9.5 radius. And we'll just check this first. And the problem with having such a low action is people always do it. They have too low an action, then they wonder why we've got fret buzz. That's the wrong one, 7.25. Wonder why we've got fret buzz. It's because set the strings too low. And if you drop tuning and using thicker strings, you need to put a little bit more relief in the neck. You have a little bit more of a arc in there. So let's have a look here. That radius is awful. That is really, really bad. These two strings are, if they're at the right height, which they are, there's no bow here at all. The radius is set too flat, so I need to set the radius. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll come back in a minute. So I don't need to do this off camera, I just need to get set up. So we have a 9.5 inch radius on there. I'll loosen the middle 4 strings, and we basically are just going to raise each string. That's the plan, just so it's over where we need it. And I'm going to show you how we set the radius, and it's really simple. And I'll zoom in a moment just so you can see what I'm doing, so you can guess. I saw straight away that the radius was too flat on these saddles. What we need to do is we need to set the arc on the saddles to the arc of the neck going this way. That's the arc or the radius. So we need to match the radius here with the radius there and the radius at the nut. And it's a common, well, it gets overlooked sometimes. I don't know why, because it's a very, very important part of setting up. So, you see, I'll explain why we set the radius the same at this end. Because it means the strings across the whole length of the neck are the same height above each fret. There's no point having a flat radius here because it means these strings are closer, and it's why you're getting fret buzz. And it means if we've got the strings radius correctly, matching the nut, the radius of the neck and the saddle, it means you're not going to get fret buzz even with a lower action. That's how we keep the action lower. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the first and last strings, and I've not checked the height above the fretboard of the first string, but I'm going to assume it's in the right position. And now what we'll do is we've got these two strings set, and we're going to now drop these strings just onto this arc, and then we'll have a radius set. And I'm not too bothered about getting these saddles horizontal at the moment. Let's just zoom in a little bit, see where we are. You know what, I'll move the camera just a little, and you're going to see exactly what I'm doing. There's no point me just gabbing on and you don't know what I'm talking about when you're 5 miles away. It's just whizzing. Right, I do apologise for that. The postman just appeared at the door, so I stopped filming. But anyway, here we go, back to where I was. These two strings, the outside and the inside, or string 1 and string 6, are set right. So what we need to do is drop the saddles, or drop the string onto this radius. And we're doing it from underneath, so it matches perfectly the top of a fret or the top of a fingerboard. Now, I'm not bothered if they're horizontal yet. I'm going to just drop them to where they need to be, get them as straight as I can, or as straight as I think I'm going with them. And we'll straighten the saddles up later. I'm not even sure if this is right. Allen key, it's 1/16 of an inch. Seems right, fits. One difference between doing an American guitar and a non-American guitar is everything is in non-metric or imperial measurements. So whereas I normally work in millimetres, centimetres, blah 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 over here, when we go to an American guitar we're doing nths of an inch. Right, so there you go. So these strings are all just about touching this radius gauge. It means the arc here is matching the arc here, and hopefully the arc of the nut. So I'm just going to check that these are level. That one's all over the place. So what I'm going to do is where I drop this 1/4 of a turn, I'm going to heighten the next one 1/4 of a turn until we get level. That's pretty good. Same with these. And I think because you don't set these in an arc, you actually set these level. What I need this guitar to be in pristine condition and perfectly set up, because it's going to the studio. You don't want to get there and your guitar doesn't play right, or you've got fretboard somewhere. That's no good to anyone. So just look at that. That looks it's okay. It's not so bad. So a little bit higher on this one. Oh, that looks pretty good to me. Just going to drop this one slightly. So let's get back in tune. Try and make a full C sharp there. So we're close to being in tune. I'm just going to have a look. That looks pretty okay. I'm going to measure the action. So we're a little bit low there. We're a little bit low there, but that's okay. Just see if we have any relief in that neck at all, because if I put a little bit of relief in there, I think we're going to be okay. Yes, more relief than we need. So we do have enough relief in there. I would have thought we're not going to get any fretboards down this end now. So the action's still a tiny bit low, get a little bit of fret buzz. I don't want any more relief than that, so I'm going to raise the action just a little at this 12th fret. But before I do that, I'm now going to loosen the strings. Because what we're going to do is we're going to straighten the neck. We're going to go across with fret rocker and we are going to check right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the neck straight, we're going to go across with fret rocker and we're going to check all of the frets. I'm going to move the camera for this because you will get a better view. So here we are with the camera in a decent place where you can now see that the neck is straight and level. There is no gap under this not straight edge. And I'll explain it. If it's not straight edge, all of these notches on a 25.5" scale go over all of the frets. And what we do is we normally can either alter the truss rod or just loosen the string tension to get the neck absolutely straight. And there you go. That neck is absolutely straight. Take my word for it. I can't really show. I could get a light behind. Can I get a light behind there? I don't have a light. Just bear with me a second. I do have a torch on my phone, of course. So let's see, can you see? I will check myself. That neck is dead straight. Blah, 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 blah. So what we're going to do is, bear with me when I turn that light off, there you go. We're going to go across with fret rocker and we're going to check these frets thoroughly. And what I do is I check 3 areas. I check down the middle, I check the far side and the near side, so 3 areas, 1, 2, 3. To fret rocker, you all know how this works. Fret rocker has 4 milled flat edges, perfectly flat, laser cut, 4 different lengths, and as we come across the neck we turn it over so we can always do 3 frets at a time, because if we do 3 at a time, if we get a rock anywhere, we'll know that the middle one is high. That's fine. By rights, shouldn't have any high frets. You do have one here, and it's just in 2 slight areas. Not mental. That's quite high. So we have 1 fret there that is rocking. That means this fret is slightly high. Now I'm not able to hammer these in more because it's a lacquered neck, and if we do anything, if we hammer that in, it's going to crack all the lacquer. So what we have to do is we have to reduce the height of that fret, and this one is also a little bit high, not much, but it doesn't matter, high is high. We need these. If you have these plecked, they're going to be done on a computer machine and we're going to be absolutely level with each other. And there again, look, that is high. That's not good at all, that's really high, that one. So this is the reason the guy is getting fret buzz and notes ringing out. You've got 3 high frets just in this area, and I imagine that is a tiny bit. So we've got 4 already. Hopefully we're going to keep this down to less than, you get 5 included on an intensive setup, but I wouldn't have thought we're going to get any more problems further up the neck. Oh, another high one. I really should. It looks like I'm going to do a fret level on this. Let's see where we are. That's all across that fret. Just going to take back these things so I can check the neck properly. I'm just going to take these down so they're not flailing all over the fingerboard. There you go. Let's see what we can do. Keep everything crossed, we might be okay at this end. Praise the Lord, we're good. So from the 4 I measured earlier, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 frets, and we are just in where that is little enough to include in our intensive setup without doing a complete fret level. So let's go again. I'm going to bring the camera closer, or as close as I can, and hopefully you're going to pick up the sound. Let's come right in. I'm saying frets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets are high. Just get that on there again, just to show that the neck is flat, straight. I was accused the other day of doing a fret level where one was not needed by an ex-regular customer. He's always been a funny guy. But anyway, don't worry about that. Let's listen. High there. High there. High there. That is high all the way across. Fret number 11. Fret number 7. Just on this outer edge. I've already marked, but I double mark. Fret number 6 should be on the close edge and the middle. Really high on that edge. Not so high in the middle, so that's 2 areas. Fret 5, just in the middle I believe. Far side's good, near side's good, middle. Just the middle. Fret 4 I believe in areas 1 and 2, that's near side to me and the middle. And there you go, that is 5 high frets. And they're close together, so it means I can just do these 4 and that 1 without it altering anything around. If it alters anything around it, which it normally does, say for instance I remove material from this one, it could alter the relationship to these 2 and these 2, because we do 2 at a time, 3. We're doing 3 at a time, so if I take some off that, it could make this one a little bit higher, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets at the moment. I'll see if I can just show you that on camera right now. I've marked them in black where they are. You'll see one right on the corner there, and you'll see them. I can't move my hands, but there you go, 5 high frets. So I'm going to go with I'm going to recommend an intensive setup to the owner of this guitar, which is basically, I say basically, there's nothing basic about a player setup. A player setup which includes everything barring electrics and frets, and we move on to an intensive setup because we're doing fret work, which is quite, you've got to know what you're doing with frets. You can't just carve into frets and leave it at that and think everything's going to be alright. So I will show the work as I do it, but I'm going to send this video now to the owner of the guitar, let him okay the work. Once he's okayed it, we'll crack on and get it done. Moving on. I decided to get the setup done before I did the frets. So using the old strings, I've done the setup exactly to how I like it. I've got 0.2 millimeters or 1/5 of a millimeter relief under the 9th fret, which is perfect. I've got the string action on the low E or the 6th string. Above the 12th fret is 1.7 millimeters and 1.5 millimeters on the 1st string or the high E, which is recommended. And I've also now just been round and I've cut the nut, recut the nut. And I've got in with my Hosco nut files. And there you go. And I've recut each slot to the depth that I like. And on this side I've got 0.3 millimeters. Just buzzing on 0.3. Could go a little bit deeper on this one, so I'll do that right here, right now. We're just going to cut in, because this is a 36, we're just going to slightly open up the slot, just a little, hardly removing any material. Still a little bit high, so we're just going to go just a little bit more. Never removing too much material, because if we remove too much material, we've got to replace the nut, and we don't want to be doing that. And we're still not cutting any great depth out of that, but that's normal. and that should just about be where I need it. Just buzzing, that's fine. Next one again. Just buzzing, perfect. And the top 3 strings, I'm always looking for about 0.2 above the first fret. Just buzzing, it's exactly what we need. So what I'm going to do is now, and carry on with the rest of the job. I'm going to remove the strings, done the setup, I'm going to remove the strings, I'm going to recarve the top of this nut, file it down a little bit, shape it a little bit better because it looks a bit uneven. I'm going to level the 5 frets I need to do. Once that's done, we've got all the frets polished, we'll get a new set of strings on, tune it up, and the guitar will be ready. Right, I've now moved over to the fretting bench, and I don't normally do fret leveling on this bench, but because I am also cutting the nut, I decided to level the frets on here. So I shall get out some files. Totally not prepared, I should have been, but anyway. Let's get some files out. I'm using a mixture of 4 different files, one being my crowning file, which will be the last one I use. That has got a groove in it, which basically I'm going to use that to remove burrs, but to level the frets, I'll be using my Valorbe Swiss made number 4 cut file. Very, very smooth and sharp file, this one, fantastic for removing material. When I come to recrowning, I'll be using a mixture of these 2 3-edge files. They've got a ground flat edge on each so we don't dig into the wood, but where I flatten some of the frets, I'll be using these to put that crown back in. And I could use just a profiling file, but I prefer to use the old-fashioned method and use this, and I'll use a rolling method as I file. Like in this instance, I'll be rolling toward the camera, on the other side of the fret I'll be rolling away, and I'll be building up that crown as I file. Once that's done, I will remove any burrs and do the finishing with this profiling file. So, what I must always have handy when we're filing, and we're going to create filings, is a clean rag. This is a clean one, just to remove any burrs. This has been brushed clean, and we're going to, basically, I'm going to level these frets. And this one is the worst one, I believe. Because it is high along the whole length. Also, this will affect the 2 frets around it either side. So when I've carved this one level, maybe it's going to affect these. And I'm also going to have to recrown and polish these anyway. Now, a couple of ways I could do this. I could take the flat side of this file, and I could go backwards and forwards and just level this one. But I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm going to take it across. And my experience should tell me when I am where I need to be. So that is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to keep checking. There you go. A little bit more there. And I'll wipe the file, always. Check for a flat edge, which is this one. And I'm going to do what I just said. I'm going to go backwards and forwards just to level it. Because we're very, very close. Like I say, it's a very sharp file. Clean the file, check again. And we are now level. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the 2 each side to see if it's sent them out. It's sent that one out just a little bit. It's a little bit high on that corner now. But this one is not affected at all. So we're removing material from this one. It's now altered the relationship to this one. And that is now a little bit high, just on this edge. Tiny, tiny bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to file into this one. And this is why, once we get over 5 files need attention, we'll level the whole lot. Because I could be doing this all the way down the neck now. Now, let's pray that that's not the case. Check the next one along. And there you go. That is not the case. We are level. Now, so these frets are all level with each other. Get the flat edge again, and I'll just gently just go across these just to make sure. So I will be polishing this way to remove these scratches anyway. But now this isn't what I've done. We'll check that. Perfect. Check the one each side. And there you go. These are now all level with each other. So what I need to do now with this one is I need to build up that crown. And you're not going to really see from here, but what I'm going to do now is where I've flattened the top of this fret, top is not flat, I want to put that crown back in. And I'm going to use just my fine cut file. I know from experience I don't need the coarse cut one because I've not really removed that much material. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start building up. With vertical it won't do anything, but I need to start rolling this over toward the camera. And we're going to start rolling it over, I'm going to roll over a little bit more so I've got a nice thin black line down the centre of that fret. Go to the other side, and now I'm going to roll away from the camera. And there you go, and I've got a nice, really thin line down the middle of the fret. And all I'm going to do now is take the profiling file and just remove any burrs. And what I've now done is, where it was flat on the top, I've now created that crown going that way. What I need to do is clean the file, and the two next to it, I'm just going to go over those as well, just to remove any burrs that may be there. But that is it, that one is done. We have recrowned, levelled and recrowned one fret. We'll check again. Make sure we are level. Go one fret each side to make sure. And there you go, that one is done. I have these four to do. I'll see if I can get the camera any closer and you can probably see a little bit more. Let's move in. A bit more of an idea. There you go, how's that? I'm not going to zoom in anymore because you don't get to see anything. So, check this one. Yep, we know that's rocking. That one is. That one is, and this one. So what we're going to do is clean the file. I'm going to do all these four in one go, more or less. Take a flat edge, and I'm just going to turn it that way, wouldn't I? And I'm not going to hit in the knots. And because the other frets around it are level, we're not going to remove more material than we need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the file, clean the fingerboard, and we are going to check the frets again. And where the frets level, we'll check one back and one forward. That one needs a bit of adjustment now. A little bit high on this edge where that one was high before, so if I just take, and if from experience that's all I'm going to need. That's now good, and I go one across again, check that one, and that's it. So where I had five to do, sorry, I've also ended up doing that one and that one, so I've actually done 7 frets. So what I need to do now is I need to reprofile with this file, which I'm going to do off camera. Oh, I could do it on camera, couldn't I? Might as well get it on camera now. No, I won't, because I can't find my marker pen. Right, I'm going to get these ones done off camera. And when it gets to the polishing stage, we'll tape up the rest of the fingerboard and we'll get all these frets polished. Right, I'm now at the stage where I'm just doing the final polishing of the frets, and I'm going to do it on the other bench, back on the original bench. The nut is cut, and I think you'll agree that looks a lot better than it did. I can't really shave from that angle, I'll shave from there. It looks really, really good. So, final fret polishing I will be doing with a fret guard, like so, blah blah blah, just so we don't carve into the wood or the lacquer, because we don't want to do that. Give them a final polish. Once that's done, we can get some strings on there. That knot's looking really, really good. We'll get some strings on there and we'll get the setup done. And I will come back in the morning, because World Championship darts starts tonight, and I'll be watching the darts right up till its completion. So I will be finishing round about 6:30 tonight, which isn't too far away. But I'll get this set up and I'll come back and do the final part of the video in the morning. Show the guitar set up, I'll give it a test and make sure everything's fine, and I'll come back and show you how we got on. But this is almost ready for going back to its owner. How good's that? I'm back and the guitar is done, and I wasn't going to film anymore tonight because of the light, but end of the day I'm going to be filming in winter anyway, and if the light's like this, the light is like this, I will try to get some brighter bulbs. I've got some 200 watt ones last year, like a lighthouse in here. You could feel the heat of the bulb from about 10 foot away, but I can't seem to get them anymore. But anyway, back to this guitar, and it is done, and wow, what an absolute beauty. So let's recap what's happened with this. It came in for a setup. I noticed straight away the neck was a bit too straight. It still is relatively straight. The neck was a bit too straight. It was fret buzz all up and down the fingerboard, so I've ended up levelling, I think I did 5 frets, but I've ended up doing 7. All the frets, well, those frets have been levelled, all the rest of the frets, all of the frets have been polished. Obviously after I recrowned the ones I'd levelled. I've recut the nut, so I've reshaped the nut, cut the nut a little bit lower. Everything that can be tightened on here, every nut, bolt, whatever, has been tightened. The electrics have been checked. I've done the intonation, I've set the radius on the bridge, on the saddles. I've heightened the pickups just a little bit, just to balance out the volume. And the action, I've got a little bit higher action on the low E, because it was too low. Because I've got such a small amount of relief in there to bring the action up just a little bit, but the guitar plays like butter. There is no fret buzz anywhere. The strings were all too flat. There's no radius at the bridge, so I re-radiused everything at the bridge, the saddles. And I'll see if I can show some of that just here. You'll see there's a nice radius there. Now matching this radius and matching the nut. So the nut has been recut. The guitar is beautiful, and I am so excited now to get mine. I'm fetching mine from Birmingham in the morning. You've not seen mine, have you? And I'm glad this came in last night, because it made me decide to go and get one myself. I was going to go and buy the special, brand new at 800 quid, but I decided to get a used. I bought a 2008 standard, same as this, but the older version with the older pickups, and what a beauty, with a Fender case. And I've paid £605 for mine. I'm going to fetch it in the morning, and it's my first proper Fender. I do have a Fender Strat, but it's a Mexican. I'm not saying it's not a proper Fender, because it is, but it is not an American one. So anyway, this one is done. I've messaged the owner to let him know that it's ready. I've told him how I've set it up, and if he wants me to tweak anything, he should let me know. There's a tiny bit of relief, about 1/5 of a millimetre relief at the 9th fret on this guitar, so that is not a lot of relief at all. But yeah, plays great, no buzz anywhere. I've been up and down the neck. It is beautiful, really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to get my own. So that's it. I don't think there's anything else to tell you. Everything's been checked, everything's been done. Nothing else to tell you. It's another one finished. I've enjoyed working on this one today, obviously, for obvious reasons, because I've just bought one myself. So yeah, really enjoyed it. I'm going to put it back in its case. I'll wait to hear from the owner, but this is now ready to go. So fret friends, another project finished. I'm Victor Christian. I am your fret friend. Just before I do go and check my webpage at facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/, let's do that again, facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. You can find out all about me, what I do. You can find out about my special rates that I always do. If you've got a brand new guitar, Christmas coming up, people are going to get new guitars. I do a special rate of a brand new guitar setup for £35. That's saving you £15. And I only do it on, and I do it all year round, and it's just on new guitars. You bring your new guitar with a receipt or recentish receipt, I will do your setup for £35 instead of £50, because you shouldn't have to pay a lot of money to get your brand new guitar set up. But they don't always come set up great out of the box. But anyway, that's it. It's me, Victor Christian. I'm your fret friend. Check me at facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. another project for this. So until next time, boys and girls, as always, be good to each other, and I will see you soon.